Hi, it's me, Dr. Z, and you're watching Trailers from Hell. Today's trailer is from 1965's How to Murder Your Wife. Fans will remember Brash Brannigan. How to Murder Your Wife is one of those films that you watch and think, God, they couldn't make that today. And then you think, maybe they shouldn't have made it then. It stars Jack Lemmon in his sixth, count 'em, sixth collaboration with director Richard Quine, a collaboration that gave us, among others, the wonderful Bell Book and Candle. You know, I first met Jack Lemmon through my old pal Ernie Kovacs, and Jack was a delight. But he was also one of those guys that would come to your party and then sit down and play the piano while everyone was talking. I'm like, okay, Jack, I get it. You can play the piano. Glad you don't play the drums. Jack Lemmon plays Stanley Ford, a successful newspaper cartoonist who lives a swanky bachelor life in mid-1960s New York, with a fantastic apartment and a butler, just like every other single dude in New York. Stanley draws a spy cartoon called Brash Brannigan. But here's the gag. Brash Brannigan doesn't do anything that Stanley doesn't do first. If Brash Brannigan scales a building, Stanley will scale one first. This was 1965, the beginning of Bond mania. And I guess this was a way to inject a little spycraft into the proceedings. I've certainly never heard of any cartoonist acting out their cartoons in real life, except maybe for R. Crumb, who drew guys obsessed with big busty women and, hey, what do you know? Bob liked him too, so what do I know? Stanley attends a friend's bachelor party where Italian bombshell Verna Lisi jumps out of a cake. Stanley gets drunk and wakes up married to her. Apparently this is terrible, but it worked out okay for me and Martine Beswick. Anyway, the film boasts a 5-star supporting cast including Terry Thomas, Mary Wicks, Max Showalter, and Jack Albertson. Once married, Verna Lisi quickly turns poor Jack Lemmon's life upside down, even though she doesn't speak a word of English. It's sort of a sex farce version of Being There if Peter Sellers had a big rack and giggled a lot. Some of the ways Stanley's life falls apart are: he gains 10 pounds because his wife is a fantastic cook. He doesn't have time to pretend he's James Bond anymore, so he changes his cartoon to a biographical domestic comedy, but that's also a big hit. And horror of horrors, he can't go drinking with his buddies as much because he has to stay home and have sex with his beautiful wife. Stanley quickly decides that the only way out of this situation is to murder his wife, which I have to tell you does not seem like the simplest solution to the problem. But every time you turn on a podcast, you hear another story about someone who really tried it. To me, it plays like a movie about a guy driving across country to be the best man at his brother's wedding, and his car breaks down in the middle of nowhere, and his solution is to try to become a werewolf. It just doesn't make sense. Trials, misunderstandings, and jigglings abound as Double Jeopardy meets Playboy After Dark. In addition to the trailer, this film was promoted with a teaser comic strip by Alex Toth, the man who designed Space Ghost, among others. Why R. Crumb wasn't asked? Well, it was the mid-60s.
From the very beginning, and made every effort to worm his way out of it.
Claire Trevor thinks I did it.
It's only fair to warn you that it does not look good.
Eddie Mayhoff thinks I did it.
But of course, you're absolutely right. Oh, what a silly ninny I was not to have seen through it before. Of course he did it.
And Terry Thomas thinks I did it. Now tell me, do you think I could ever possibly murder beautiful, luscious, sensual, desirable, gorgeous Verna Lisi?
Women, warning, see this picture before he does. The wife you save may be you.
This theater will present this motion picture as a public service.